This is Idiot with a Library Card, and today I'm going to be talking about The Final Detail by Harlan Coben. Now, this is the sixth book in the Myron Bolitar series of novels. If you want to check out my shows on the first 5 books in the series, become a patron on Patreon. Just kidding. Those shows don't exist, and I have never recorded them. Also, this is the first and only Myron Bolitar novel I have read. Actually, it's the first Harlan Coben book I've read, and he is a pretty popular writer. So why I'm doing this show harkens back to something of what I would say is a lost practice. I think it's especially good to do with TV shows. It's actually a lot harder to do with TV shows nowadays. This is what I would call the random episode watch. Now, TV has changed a lot in the past few years. Although these shows still exist, most shows you have to start at the beginning, and you can't just jump in at a random episode. You'll be lost and won't understand what's going on. Some book series are like this too. When someone suggests a book series, I often ask, can I just pick up a random installment and understand what's going on? Series like Dune, Game of Thrones, and the Dark Tower series tend to be a hard no. Just like TV shows like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, and Stranger Things. The thing is, I love old TV because I can generally just watch any episode and get what's going on. Shows like The X-Files, old Star Trek, or even like real one-off stories like The Twilight Zone. It's fun for me to check out an old show with a random episode, as you can actually get a better experience with your first episode, as some shows do need like a season to kind of work out the kinks. I also enjoy doing this with book series. As I said in my last show, the Jack Ryan novels are kind of in between, and it's one of the reasons I'm not the biggest fan of those, as you probably could come in the middle, but there's a lot of context in what's going on that you may have to start at the beginning. I do like book series like the Harry Bosch and James Bond series because you can get a good book randomly from one of those series. Sometimes you can hit less interesting books and bail on the series without feeling like you've invested a whole bunch of time in the series. And if you find a series with a good batting average, you can kind of jump and you'll find some good books and maybe some not so good books. But you can always go back to the series without restarting it or having to go in order. You'll find that some authors will have a nice little streak going, but maybe the beginning of the series wasn't so strong, or the end of the series wasn't so strong, or they had a few weak ones in the middle. So I'm just saying it's a fun thing to do with these, especially mystery and thriller series, where you can just kind of grab a book in the middle of the series and get what it's about. And if you enjoy it, then you can always go back and read another one, which is cool. And if you didn't enjoy it, you didn't invest a whole bunch of time. So with all that said, without having any idea that the character of Myron Bolitar existed before finding this book in the library, picked up the 6th book of the series. Now, what I'm going to say next is going to sound like I did not enjoy the book, and that's not the case. But the next book I read is not going to be another installment of this series. This is the other thing I like about book series like this. It does not have to be a marathon in the same world. You can randomly pick up a book in a series like this, enjoy it, and not come back for a few years. Then pick up another one and not have to do a refresher or anything like that and enjoy that book or not enjoy it. So first, to talk about the book series in general, I know I've only read this one book out of 11, but again, because this book is effective at what it does, I can say I have a good feeling for the character and world of Myron Bolitar. His character and the world he lives in is what I would call middle-aged dad wish fulfillment. Myron is a former college basketball great who went to the pros, but never played an actual game as he blew out his knee in his rookie training camp. So he became a sports agent who is like a good guy and makes sure that his clients are not taken advantage of. He has two best friends, Win, who is a billionaire, who is an expert in Taekwondo. He is a bit of a sociopath who does not see anything wrong with taking the law in his own hand. He's got a Bruce Wayne feel to him without the moral code. I think that's why he's a good side character. He has all the influence and power to get Myron out of jams occasionally. His other best friend is Esperanza. She is a no-nonsense former secretary, now partner at the sports agency firm. She was a professional wrestler and is very beautiful and dates both men and women. Myron has a few traits like he likes Yoo-Hoo and old television shows, especially the old Batman series, the Adam West Batman series. Lastly, as a sports agent, it seems like he gets into a lot of danger and stumbles upon murders. And my guess is, just from reading this book, he's probably stumbled on or done a murder investigation about 11 times, which seems a lot for a sports agent. And again, this all sounds very silly, and it is kind of silly when you look back, but the book is quite engaging, and the way the characters are set up makes it, even though it's a little ridiculous, a lot of fun. This book is a suspenseful murder mystery with a good bit of sarcastic humor. The thing is, I'm not going to get much into what happens in this particular book, but after something bad happens in the last book, and again, it does not matter to this story, just something bad happens and Myron goes on a long vacation to clear his head. He goes to a tropical island and is not really able to be reached. His friend Win gets to him and tells him Esperanza has been arrested for murdering Myron's college friend and first client, a relief pitcher for the Yankees. The mystery unfolds from there, and there is a lot of twists and turns and suspense and action. The book is well written. The story is told, as most mysteries are, as third-person limited, only following Myron. And I would say, an added level, it has the character's tone. It has a sarcastic humor to it, which is used very effectively, as it adds to the character of the story, and makes it more fun to read, without getting in the way of the suspense. I don't want to spoil this book, not because I necessarily think it's a must-read, but because it would take too long to get into. Again, I didn't like this book enough to do multiple shows or to spend more than a few minutes on it, but it's a fun read in a lot of ways. So my recommendation after reading this book is not to go to the library and get this book or get on Amazon and buy it. My recommendation is that if you find yourself at your local library, and always recommend, it's a fun trip, and are in the mood for a fun, suspenseful mystery, go check out a book by Harlan Coben. He has written a lot outside the Myron Bolitar series, and it seems that those books are popular as well. So you may want to check one of those out, or it's probably a good bet to grab one of the books in the Myron Bolitar series. You can do it randomly and you'll probably enjoy it. I think it's worth a read or a listen, especially if that's the kind of book you're into. If you're into suspenseful, action-packed mysteries, you'll really like it. So with that, please like, subscribe, and comment wherever you get your podcasts. Definitely check out your local library. It's full of just great books and great audiobooks and DVDs. Part of this show is to promote that libraries are great, and it's a great place to just go and find books and find different types of things you'll enjoy. You don't feel bad when you're halfway through a book and just being like, I don't like this, I'm done. So definitely check out your local library and check out other episodes of this podcast if you haven't.